If you are a class 12 student and you have an interview coming up for IPMAT, BBA, Liberal Studies, or any undergraduate program, there's one question that's probably bothering you. What will they ask from my school subjects? Will they ask numericals? Will they grill me like a board exam? Will they open my textbook and start firing definitions? Let me start with some good news. This is not a board exam. And now, some honest news. This is not a board exam, which means mugged up answers won't help either. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the most common subject-related questions asked in interviews, what interviewers are actually trying to test, and how students from science, commerce, and humanities are usually questioned. And don't worry, this video is especially for students who close their books right after boards and haven't looked back since. You're still safe for now. Let's clear one big misunderstanding. Interviewers are not checking how many formulas you remember, whether you can reproduce definitions word to word, or how good you were at writing 3-page answers in school. What they are checking is much simpler. They want to know, did you actually understand what you studied? Can you explain a concept in simple language? Can you think calmly when someone asks you an unexpected question? In short, they are not looking for toppers. They are looking for thinking students. If you can explain a basic idea clearly and honestly, you are already ahead of many others. Science students usually panic the most. So let's start here. Interviewers normally pick 1 or 2 subjects, not all 3. And the questions are mostly conceptual. Let's take physics. You might be asked things like, what does Newton's first law say? Can you explain it in daily life? Why do we use AC current instead of DC for electricity? Why do stars twinkle but planets don't? What is Ohm's law? Does it always apply? Now notice something important. They are not asking you to calculate anything. They want to see whether you understand the idea behind the law, not whether you remember the formula. If you use a simple example, like standing in a moving bus for explaining inertia, that's more than enough. Now, common chemistry questions could include, what's the difference between ionic and covalent bonding? What is pH and why does it matter in real life? What do oxidation and reduction mean? Why is carbon such a special element? What are polymers and where do we see them around us? If you can connect chemistry to food, health, the environment, or everyday products, interviewers usually like that a lot. Math questions in interviews are very different from exams. You may be asked, what is a function? What's the difference between permutation and combination? What does probability actually measure? Where do we use mean, median, and mode in real life? Why is statistics important? They are not testing speed or accuracy here. They are testing whether you can explain maths in plain English. Now, commerce students should expect slightly sharper questioning, especially for management-related programs. Let's take accountancy. Now, some very common questions could include things like, what's the difference between profit and cash? What are assets and liabilities? Why do we prepare a balance sheet? What is depreciation and why is it necessary? Can a company make profit and still face cash problems? Now, that last question comes up very often. If you answer it clearly, you immediately create a strong impression. Now, economics is a favorite subject in interviews. You may be asked, what is demand? What is inflation in simple terms? What's the difference between micro and macroeconomics? What is GDP? Is GDP the best way to measure growth? What happens when petrol prices increase? If you relate your answers to current Indian examples, it shows awareness and interviewers notice that. Now let's take a look at business studies. Very commonly asked questions could include, what is management? What's the difference between a leader and a manager? What is marketing? Is it the same as advertising? What is entrepreneurship? What makes a business successful? Now, If you observe businesses around you, brands, startups, even your local kirana shop, you will find these answers naturally. Now, humanities students are often asked deeper, opinion-based questions. Take political science. Typical questions could include, what is democracy? What's the difference between a state and a government? What are fundamental rights? What is the role of the judiciary? Why does India follow a parliamentary system? So clarity matters more than fancy words and jargon. In history, one very common question is, why should we study history? They may also ask, what impact did the British rule have on India? Name one historical event that changed the country. Can history repeat itself? Now here, your reasoning matters more than just dates. For geography or psychology, sociology, questions usually would sound like, what's the difference between weather and climate? What is global warming? What is the nature versus nurture debate? How does society influence individual behavior? Now, they are checking how you think, not what you memorized. Okay, so no matter which stream you are from, you can always expect questions like, which subject do you like the most and why? Which subject do you find the most difficult? What did you actually learn in classes 11 and 12? How will your subjects help you in management or business? If you could change your syllabus, what would you change? Interesting questions. Now, a simple small warning here. Saying, I don't remember anything might sound honest, but it's not a smart interview answer. And let me end with the most important point. Interviewers are not looking for perfect answers. They are looking for clear thinking, honest responses, calm communication, and the curiosity to learn. If you say, I don't remember the exact definition, but I understand the concept, that's not a weakness, that's actually a strength. So prepare your basics, stay calm, and remember, this interview is a conversation, not an interrogation. Remember, a well-prepared candidate is a successful candidate. So now pick up your textbooks, read the introductions to all the chapters, use online resources including AI to understand the fundamentals and to know real-life application of the theoretical concepts. For more content related to interviews and other college admission related processes, do subscribe to this channel. Here's wishing you all the very best.